What's up, everybody? I'm going to talk about happiness today and something that I'm doing for myself to be more happy. Because I talk a lot about the emphasis on balance and happiness, but to be honest, if I look at my life, I haven't really ever taken the time to prioritize what makes me happy. And really, there's only 8 things that I need to do every day in order to be at my best. And I don't currently do these things. I'm aware of this, and I consider it one of the biggest problems with my life right now, because a lot of the more negative things that I experience are completely preventable, and I'm just getting in the way of myself, right? And I don't have a set standard routine of stuff that I do in the morning. I mean, I often do orders. I place orders for the eBay store just because I feel like it's good to do that and get it out of the way at the beginning. But, you know, that makes me feel productive when I do it, but that doesn't necessarily contribute to my happiness, right? And if I'm going to be completely honest, all of the life-changing decisions and work that I did and I've done came to me when I was outside and away from home. The only time that I've really known what's best work-wise and had the energy to do it is when I'm away from home and I think about it and I want to work on it, but I'm somewhere else at the moment, literally just outside or on a walk or at a friend's house or something, right? That's when all of the inspiration and all of the good things in my life, they all came from that, right? And I spend so much time in the same environment or in the same place because I don't go out of my home for work, right? So it's really easy to stay home all the time. And this, I think, is having a detrimental effect on my mental health. So I need to take steps to make sure that I'm getting out of the house because life happens outside of your home. You know, I know that for me to be at my happiest, I have to be outside of my house more often than I'm home, interacting with people. Because the whole point is to get out into the world, not knowing what can happen, but knowing that something will, you know? Like today, for example, I went to drop off a package and or put a sale in a post box, right? I printed a label of something physical that I sold, and I needed to put it in the post box. And so I found a postal truck, but the guy wasn't there, and it was just parked. So I just sat outside of it, and I just people watched for 15 minutes until the postal workers showed up. And that moment, I think, was really essential because that's kind of what the focus of my life is to establish enough free time where you can just put yourself out there and be open to the world, because that's where all the good things come from. That's where all of the great life experience and happiness and fascinating, interesting situations come from, is getting out into the world and interacting with it and not being open to not knowing what's going to happen and embracing that, right? And so there's 8 things in specific that I need to do that I don't do every single day. And what's crazy is this is the first time that I've identified that there's 8 of them. I didn't even know that there was 8, but there are 8 things that if I do, I feel very happy. And I know this because in my life, over the previous 8 years, there is a recurring theme to when I feel happy. There are certain variables that are swung a certain way in every occurrence where I was really, really happy. And so I've come to understand over time what needs to happen, right? And this is very unique to me as an individual. You will have something different. There's going to be different tasks that you need to do. But one of the main things I struggle with right now is my appetite. I think because of I've just thrown myself really into a lot of really stressful, intense situations because I like the effect that it has on my personality. In the long run, and what I learn, and it just makes me learn faster. But that definitely is intensely emotional and absolutely terrifying, and I've just gotten used to that. But that doesn't change the fact that it's true, right? So I have intense appetite problems. I don't really feel hunger. until way later in the day, way past when I should eat. And I weigh the same amount that I've weighed for a long time, which is like 125 pounds. And sometimes it's like down to 120. That's a problem. Like, especially considering I have problems with energy and fatigue, you get energy from food. I have to eat. That is very important that I do that, right? And it's really ridiculous that now that I think about these things and talk about them more, I see how, like, I've been prioritizing the wrong stuff. I've been prioritizing the stuff that makes me feel productive and, like, changes my future instead of the stuff that is good for my body now and gives me the energy I need to do all of that work fairly easily, right? Like, it makes more sense to set yourself up for success and to focus on putting yourself in the environment that creates the most success, to focus on these factors, right? And so let's get to, let's get to, this is the part of the video where my arm gets tired, so I switch arms, and then it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. There are 8 things, okay? And these 8 things are, 1, as soon as I wake up, right? I'm going to try and do these every single day for 7 days. Ideally, I do it every day for like the rest of my life, right? But I can't make that kind of commitment. However, I can commit to 7 days. That's something I can do. So for the next 7 days, I'm going to do these 8 things as soon as I wake up for the first time each day. First thing is Duolingo. I really like that I actively study a different language now. I've never in my life studied a language every day for more than like a week. And I've been doing that for 2 months now. And that's something I'm really proud of and I'm really happy about because I feel a lot of shame about not learning Spanish when I was there because I had other priorities, really. Separate thing. Duolingo, right? Number 2 is to hydrate. Water, important, like as soon as I wake up, right? Number 3, brush my hair. Sounds silly, right? These are really obvious things. But the act of brushing my hair is important because then it makes me feel less like, I don't know. It has effects on me later on through the day. It makes me more presentable. I feel more confident. I'm more likely to make video. I'm more likely to talk to people. It just is good, okay? And the act of doing it, like, I think that I personally need to have things to maintain in order to be productive and feel like sane. Like, I need to have things working on to do with my hands. Brushing hair is really great because I can do that like over and over and over again. So that's number 3. Number 4 is eating something that has calories. Even if it's like a shake or just bread. I have to make sure that I eat food quickly after waking up. And this is the thing that I have so much trouble with because I tend to drink tea immediately. I drink tea like all day. And tea shuts down your gut. So it's really important that I don't drink tea until I've consumed food. Because if I fail to eat food upon waking, then I'm suppressing my appetite for the rest of the day. And I cannot afford to suppress my appetite. This is a big problem with the way that I currently live my life, right? So one of the key things is to eating more. Sorry, whoa, it's really loose right now. One of the key things to eating more is to actually just eat something when you wake up, because then it increases your appetite and you're much more likely to continue to get hungry throughout the day. My problem is that I don't get hungry anywhere near as often as I should. So I cannot rely on wanting to eat food because it doesn't happen. I just feel like a pain, and I understand that that means that I need to put food in me, but I feel nauseous and I don't want to eat, and it feels very foreign. You know, it's very odd and alarming because if we transition into later on in the day, like 10 p.m., 11, then I can eat and I can smell food and actually want to eat. My experience completely changes. That's when I actually have a little bit of an appetite. But again, I can't be like that just sometimes. I need to be consuming enough food for my body to have energy throughout the day, right? So consuming food is one of the other things. All right, so what do we have so far? I need to make sure, this is on a list, but I gotta make sure I know it inside and out. It's really important. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this video. I'm telling you guys this stuff because if I tell you, I'm actually gonna do it because I'm talking about it, right? And it's just 7 days, easy, right? So we have Duolingo, hydrate, consume food, brush hair. Oh yeah, brush teeth. That's another one. Yeah, haven't been so great about that recently. There's 3 more. Drink tea. That has to be done after. So there's a certain order of events, but that's not super important. The last one is to go outside without the intention of immediately coming back. So that means that I'm missing 1. Duolingo. Oh yeah, fold the blanket. That's right. I got rid of my bed recently. Well, I didn't. I was actually borrowing a friend's bed, but I really don't want it to be convenient for me to sleep. I want it to be inconvenient, and I want to be more likely to work, and I want to be more active, because being active is critical to being healthier and happier. And I am not active enough in my life. I don't get enough physical activity. I used to rely on my job at Starbucks because I was always standing and walking, and I would walk to work and walk back. I don't do that anymore. So now I don't get as much physical activity, and I need to change things about my lifestyle in order to make up for that, right? So we have all 8 of them. The first one is Duolingo. This is good to start off with because I can wake up and it's not intense enough cognitively that I need to worry about it, but it is intense enough that it's gonna increase the chance that I feel more awake, right? Which is good. So Duolingo, hydrate, food, caffeinate, and then body maintenance, brush teeth, brush hair, fold clothes, and then go on a walk. And I don't want to say go on a walk because that's not what it's about. It's not about going on a walk or getting exercise. It is about going outside without the intention of coming back immediately. Going outside with the purpose of finding something to happen, something to do that I didn't plan for, that exposes me to the world or people in some way, right? I really want to make the first part of my day to be outside of the house, because all of the good things, again, to go back to the beginning of this video, all of the best things in my life have come from that specific environment where I had given my body the things that I needed. I was around interesting people somewhere outside of my home, and then I came to some realization about something I should do, and then I went home and did it. That is the recurring pattern in all of the things that have brought, all of the actions in my life that bring good things into my future. That's the recurring pattern. So I want to figure out how to bring this into my life more regularly, right? So I need to take better care of my body because I don't always take the best care of myself. And this has become increasingly more obvious to me as I've gotten older, and I've kind of come to understand that, right? There's things about me that are the way they are just because I didn't really have, when my dad died when I was 12, right? So I was little, and then my mom was working all the time. So a lot of my habits were literally just created by a 12-year-old. So that's not ideal, right? Normally you're trained or showed how to be a certain way, and you're taught about things like I used to have chronic headaches all the time, and I didn't understand that it was because I wasn't hydrating. It literally was because I wasn't consuming enough fluid for my body to function properly. And that's why I had the headaches, right? Or the main reason. My parents would say it's growing pains and genetic, and they went through it too in some ways. But ultimately it was because I didn't learn how to properly take care of myself. And I still haven't, so I need to, because it's stupid. There's these obvious things that I can do to change the quality of my life that I really should do so that I am more appreciative and I feel better and I feel happier and I have more energy, right? It's really important. So I just figured I'd do this video because this is the kind of stuff that a lot of people don't talk about, but if you're self-employed, it's going to be really relevant because you can't just be home all day and be happy. You can get used to it and make the best of it, but that just means that you haven't really experienced how amazing it is to put yourself out in the world and be surrounded by people you don't understand and don't know, and for your preconceptions to constantly just be crushed all the time and you to just be shown that you're wrong. Like, it's amazing. And if you think that you're always right about people, that literally means that you just don't talk to enough people. You don't expose yourself to people because you can't predict everything. And yeah, it's true that most of the time you can rely on people not being genuine. You can rely on them being a bit manipulative. You can rely on like people not being there for you when something goes wrong. The people who are exceptions, right? They're very special friends. That being said, if you think you're always right about people, that means, again, it means you're not challenging your preconceptions because it does not take long, no matter where you are, no matter how you feel about your environment. It doesn't take long to talk to somebody who surprises you, right? And that is really key to increasing your worldview and increasing your intellect. You need to expose yourself to as much information as possible from as many different people as possible. The second that you start to be exposed to multiple different opinions, you start developing a huge edge over most other people. Because most humans are usually exposed to a slight variation from their current culture in their area. They don't change their geographical location, and they don't become aware of how different things are in so many different places, right? So the second that you start exposing yourself to all these different scenarios and situations, you become more able to understand people. Life just makes a lot more sense because you see that it's not about the things that people say it's about the things that it's actually about, you know? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Ciao.